Motherhood Day.
Happy Mastering Motherhood Day!
Come exploring with me. We'll take a trip and hit the road. I've got the keys, let's just go. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's gonna be great, you and me. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be fun, a beautiful day. All of us, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate.
We are Mastering Motherhood.
It's gonna be great, you and me. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be fun, a beautiful day. All of us, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. It's gonna be great, you and me. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be fun, a beautiful day. All of us, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Mastering Motherhood Day. So glad everybody's here today because I know there's a lot of sickness going around, and my family has been struck in Arizona and struck in Portland. So everybody's sick. So anybody have the stomach bug that's been going around? It's awful. Anybody's family been hit with that yet? No? Anyway. You? Nick had it? Oh. Yeah. It's just 24 hours? Okay, good. 24 hours of horrible, horrible 24 hours. Okay. Okay. So, we're happy you're all here. And we have the blue tickets. Don't forget to make out your blue tickets. That goes for the grand prize giveaway at the end, which is usually phenomenal. Some of you weren't here last week, so we picked our books last week, and there's the little frames on the table tell you what books are available. So The Power of a Woman's Words and What Happens When Women Pray are still available. So you can either see Mary Beth is the leader of What Happens When Women Pray, and Tina, you can see Tina if that's your pick. And they can tell you a little bit about the book if you haven't researched it at all. So I'm just trying to see what I have to go over here. So is everybody receiving their emails every week? Okay, and you have your name tags, so you are registered. So make sure everybody's registered and getting your emails. Very good. Okay, so next week we are going to be going over to the nursing home in Marlboro. It's a rehab center, nursing home. So we need the cookies and we need the Valentine's cards made out. So anybody, adult, children, take some Valentine's cards, make them out, so we have enough to give out to the residents over there. Bring them home to your kids that are home. It's cute. They like to see little scribbly chicken stuff on them. X's and O's and so. And we need about 80 cookies. So if you could sign up so I know who's bringing them next week, and then we can kind of adjust with leadership or whatever to make sure we have enough. And sign up to let me know if you're going to be coming. It's at 1 o'clock. I guess did we decide we're going to meet there or here? After here? Okay. Oh, we're gonna eat lunch here. So bring a little lunch for your kids, and then we're gonna go over to the nursing home. So I'm gonna be calling her this week to let her know how many of us are coming. So I really need today for you to sign up. So that's our making. Jennifer Rhodes is doing her gift giveaway today. She can come up and do that, which is always fun.
I was actually prepared this semester, so let's see. I have a couple times a year, my family and I will go down to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We have some friends down there that we'll visit, and we just like the area, and we always have a lot of fun. So when we were there last time in December, we saw one of the shows at Sight and Sound, which is amazing. If you ever get a chance, please go. But we were at some of the shops, the Kitchen Kettle Village, which is almost like Mystic Village. All these cute little shops. We love it there. There's this one shop that we always go to, no matter how many times a year we're there. And they sell jams and jellies and pickles and all kinds of stuff. So what I did this time was I got one of their little sampler packs, which is like little tiny jars of jelly. So there's 6 of them in here with like the little spreader. And then I also, because you gotta have something to put the jelly on, so I made a loaf of bread. So you'll get that. All right, so everyone can stand up. So, like I said, Lancaster is one of my family's favorite areas to go. It has been when I was younger. It is now with my husband and my kids. So if you have a place that your family loves to go, stay standing. Okay. Fun. Let's see. So I was a little scatterbrained this week, which is not abnormal for me. But I did make sure that I told my 5-year-old, I was like, before we leave the house, make sure that I remember this and this. We get in the car, and granted, we're, a mile or 2 away from the house. And she was like, Mommy, did you remember this? Yes, I did. But by me telling her that I needed to remember, it helped me remember. So if you either need that reminder or have trouble remembering, stay standing. I know we're all moms, so yeah. Sorry, my brain is slightly fried. I have a child that has not slept at all. So, yeah, if you are living the life that I am right now with a child that does not sleep, remain standing. Okay, there we go. All right. So my anniversary is in September. Do we have anyone close to? All right. That'll work.
Wow, that would be a coveted gift right there with that bread. Okay, so this is really strange. I was in the library, and this book caught my eye. It was like displayed in the library. It's Raising Respectful Children in a Disrespectful World. I said, ooh, I got to take that out, just out of curiosity. And yeah, I found out I basically did everything wrong, no. No. Well, you'll see, because then I went through, because I really struggled getting speakers this time. I don't know why. Maybe people are sick. They just didn't want to commit to coming. And so this week we have a video. And it happens to be this woman who wrote this book. Her name is Jill Rigby. And she talks about self-respect versus what's the word? Self-esteem. Thank you, Tina. Self-esteem versus self-respect. And I don't know, I went through that phase where everybody was saying, you've got to teach your kids, give them self-esteem. You got to tell them how wonderful they are. They can do anything. And it was like, then when I read this book, I'm going, ooh, maybe that didn't work out so well. So anyway, I think you'll enjoy her talk. And don't beat yourself up if you were doing this, because I didn't beat myself up. I realized that. I was just trying to do the best that I could, and sometimes sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. So Jill Rigby Garner, heart-educated and parenting expert, nonprofit founder of Baton Rouge-based Manners of the Heart, is also an inspiring speaker, award-winning author, and the publisher of heart education programs and books for students, educators, and parents. Jill's deepest desire and calling are to bring a revival of God's principles and respect and civility to our society. That's something we need today, right? Her parenting books, Raising Respectful Children in a Disrespectful World, and Raising Unselfish Children in a Self-Absorbed World, have been endorsed by Dr. Henry Cloud, Focus on the Family, Dr. Kevin Lehman, and John Rosemond. John Rosemond he used to write in the Hartford Courant, I believe. And did you read him? He had the best stuff in there when I found him. I've read some of his books too. Due to popular demand, she has just completed an extensive expansion of the original Manners of the Heart curriculum for grades pre-K through 5. Jill's contagious passion fosters transformative change in all who hear and read her words. Jill's refreshment comes from quiet time in God's Word, the study of classical Christian and historical writings, and prayer. Her favorite roles are wife to husband Nick and mother and grandma, I guess, to her growing family, who testify to God's calling in her life. to introduce you before your author talk. That's not even supposed to be right. Anyway, so this is Jill Garner, and I think you'll enjoy her talk. This is one of our books that we could pick. If you girls are thinking that you're interested, let me know, because this is from the library, but it's on our book list from a few years back. So if it's something you think you're really interested in, let me know. Yes? Yes, right now. What? Well, it's a little tough listening sometimes to some of this advice, but I think it's really worth listening to.
Hello, I'm Jill Garner, the author of Raising Respectful Children in a Disrespectful World. I'm here today to convince you that this goal can still be accomplished today. I know it's very difficult because we find ourselves living in such disrespect. But I want to ask a question to get us started in our thinking of how we can actually accomplish this. How did we get here? How do we find ourselves living with such disrespect today? Well, when I've asked that question to many different audiences, there are some common answers that recur over and over again. The first one is social media. I'm sure we all would agree with that. We don't even have to expound on that. And then there's the media in general, this barrage and this constant battering that we get every time we turn on the television or we tune in on our computers to catch some news. The vitriol, the hate, the discord, the divisiveness that we're discovering within our country. All of that is leading to such disrespect. And let's back it up a little bit. Simple things, the television shows, the different videos, video games, so many parts and pieces to this issue. The demise of the family, the breakdown of the family. We could go on and on and on about the reasons and what's happened for why we find ourselves where we do today. But you know, when something goes wrong in business, you do this thing called a root analysis to get to the bottom of all these issues and these things that have gone wrong, but you can't solve those and fix them long term until you get to the root of them. And I want to tell you the root of all of the problems we're experiencing today. It comes back to this concept. Actually, it was a bald-faced lie, we were told, when we were first told that we needed this. Self-esteem bubbled up out of the psychology circles in the late 60s, early 70s. And we were told, all the rest of us, ordinary folks, that what we needed to fix the problems of the 60s and to make life better and to fix all the craziness that was happening to us at that time in our society was that we needed to begin to esteem ourselves. That needed to be our number one goal as people and in the raising of our children. Well, let's think about that a little bit. We've just said that here we find ourselves 40, almost 50 years later now, living in a time of great disrespect, tremendous greed, unspeakable violence, young people, almost 2 generations now, who are lost, can't find their way. They're running home and pulling the sheets back over their faces because they can't find the answers that they need. And so something went wrong. There's a disconnect. This certainly didn't fix our problems. In fact, I'm not going to say this was the cure, as we were told it would be. I'm going to say it's the culprit. The esteeming of self. You know, the truth is, if we're esteeming ourselves, it doesn't leave much room for us to esteem others. The more deeply we fall in love with ourselves, the less lovable we become. The less we're loving others if we're loving ourselves. So what can we do? What is the answer? Well, first, I hope we all agree, this didn't fix things. This only made it worse. So maybe it's not self-esteem we needed in the first place. I don't believe it was. Maybe it's not what our children need. Maybe what they need is self-respect. Let me ask a question. Where does respect come from? Yes, that's what most people say. I can hear that answer. It comes from giving respect. It's in the act of giving respect to someone that you gain respect from them. It's being respectable that causes other people to give you respect. So it's this process of respect. It's the giving of respect while working hard to gain respect that develops our self-respect. Now, some people will say, but Jill, self-esteem is the same as self-respect. Well, I want to propose the thought to you that they're polar opposites. Truly polar opposites. And the goal of building self-esteem in your children will keep your children from developing what they really need, which is self-respect. So let's dive into this. Let's compare the two and see what you think. So if you're a mom who is determined to build your child's self-esteem, then your primary concern is to develop their happiness, is to make sure they're happy all the time. Let me ask this question. Think for a moment of Walmart. Have you ever experienced a Walmart moment with a child? I can chuckle with you because I certainly was there when my boys were growing up. I know what that's like, and I've gotten old enough now that I care so much about helping, I don't care so much. And I can step over to that mom struggling at the end of that line, trying to get out of Walmart, and with a child who's totally out of control, and mama's saying, oh honey, if you'll just calm down, mama will get you, fill in the blank. Well, I'll step over and say, oh please, don't give in to that. Please, don't do it that way. Oh please, say no treat today. Let's get out the door. And I'll walk with you while your child is having a fit, right? Because I want that mom to understand her main goal isn't to make her child happy. No, her main goal is to help her child find long-lasting joy, which never comes from the constant always yes. We know as adults, we don't find our true happiness, right? When everything goes our way, we develop the fiber to stand up and become mature when things don't always go our way, and we have to deal with them. So if we're trying to build our child's self-esteem, we're going to be concerned with moment-by-moment happiness. But if we would rather build their self-respect, we're going to look for long-term joy. Long-term, did you hear that? Not keeping our child happy moment by moment by moment. Understanding disappointments, because we're more concerned with long-term joy. I have twin sons, and we used to drive through the bank when they were little boys and to deposit our little Christmas club money. That's how old we are. Christmas club money. And they always offered the boys a sucker. Well, more times than not, I said, no thank you, not today. Now, the boys weren't always happy about it, but no, thank you, not today. No, thank you, not today. And the more I did that, the less the boys expected something, that they were going to get something. I removed the idea of that expectation of getting something. So when we did drive through occasionally, and I would say, you know, I think that would be a wonderful treat. What do you think, boys? Right? You would have thought I was handing them the whole candy store, and it was a sucker. They appreciated it, and guess what? It was a treat. And guess what? There was no attachment to it whatsoever. It was just because I loved them. And they felt that and received it in that way. There was no expectation. It was simply a treat, which brought them true joy. You see? That's how you begin to build self-respect. If you're seeking to build self-esteem, well, we already realized, right, that's going to create greed. The esteeming of self, right, makes life all about me. The me generation, the individualism that some of the 20-something generation are living with today in the workplace and colleges, this is where it came from. But if we're working to build our children's self-respect, you heard it in that illustration about the boys and their suckers, right? You create a sense of gratitude. They wait for what's coming. They don't have an expectation they're going to get something. When something does come their way, then they appreciate it, and they have that sense of gratitude. If you're working to build your child's self-esteem, well, it kind of goes without saying, right? You're going to create arrogance. But if you're working to build your child's self-respect, you're going to create humility. So how does that work? Well, it's easy to see the esteeming of self creates arrogance. It's all about me and I want the world to know. It's going to be all about me. But think of a person that you know that's humble. The truth is, they're not a doormat. They're a person of tremendous strength because they have the ability to put the needs of others ahead of their wants. They walk in deference to others. They prefer to allow others to get the credit. They don't need the credit for themselves, right? Because they are developing respect for themselves. Every action your child takes to allow someone to go before them, that sharing that candy, right? That allowing someone else to play with a toy builds their self-respect because it's creating a sense of humility within their spirits. The building of self-esteem, we were told, would create great security in our children. But the truth is, it creates insecurity because if it's not about me, always, all the time, then my world falls apart. But if we're helping our children to develop respect for themselves by the giving of respect to others, then that's where their confidence comes from. Let me give you a little story to give an example of that shows this, I think, so clearly, this distinction between the two. Two 16-year-old girls, Saturday night, both cute girls. One is full of self-esteem, one is full of self-respect. It's getting late Saturday night, and a proposition is put before each of these girls. So which girl is going to make the wise choice? Now, we were told the girl full of self-esteem would make the wise choice. But who do you think would make a wiser choice? Who would have the ability to say no and stick to that decision? A 16-year-old full of self-esteem or a 16-year-old full of self-respect? You can clearly see it, can't you? It's that 16-year-old girl full of self-respect. The girl who can put the needs of others ahead of her own. The girl who can appreciate the good things that comes her way. The girl who can wait for long-term joy. The girl full of self-respect. Now, why not the girl full of self-esteem? Because the problem with it is she has to have all the attention, even when it's the wrong attention. But the girl full of self-respect has too much respect for others and too much respect for herself. She has the ability, the humble confidence to say, no, take me home and don't call me again. Monday morning rolls around and these two girls come into school. The girl full of self-esteem, who more than likely made the wrong decision, has trouble making eye contact because she's all concerned and worried about who knows and what's been said. But the girl full of self-respect, who's gained even more self-respect now, can walk in school and check in with everybody and has nothing in the world to worry about because she has no fear of what might be said. Self-esteem creates tremendous insecurity. Self-respect creates tremendous humble confidence. If we're working to build self-esteem, then that goal with our child is going to be number one. But if our goal is to build self-respect in our child, that goal is going to be to help them become the best that they can be. If we're working at number one, we're actually putting our children in a position to always compete with each other. Because if you're seeking to be number one, then you're going to always want to be the prettiest, the best, the fastest, the smartest. You're always going to be competing with each other. But if you're working to build your child's self-respect and to help them become the best that God created them to be, then you're going to help them learn how to compete with themselves and cooperate with others. They're going to work hard. Oh yes, they're going to work hard to find out how much they can learn, to find out what skills they can develop, to find out what does God have for them, what is His purpose for their lives, and work hard to get there because their goal is going to be to become the very best that God created them to be, which gives them the ability to cooperate with each other, even to help complete the holes and the gaps that others might have. because they're never putting themselves in a position to compete with each other. Oh, if we could only get this one piece right. Oh, the joy that our children could discover, especially in those teen years. And if we're building to help our goal, to build self-esteem in our children, then our kids are going to give up, right? Because guess what? Somebody's come along who is faster, who is smarter, who is prettier, who's better. And when they don't get on top, and they're not number one in everything, and someone beats them out, then they give up. They walk away. But if we have been helping our children to develop self-respect, they're going to persevere. Let me give you an example of that. One of my boys wanted to play the drums. I thought, oh, don't you want the guitar like your brother? No, oh, it was the drums. Well, I made him wait a while to make sure it wasn't a passing fad, and it wasn't. He was serious. He got a set of drums for Christmas the next year, and he started playing, and it was the most awful racket you've ever heard. Couldn't find any rhythm at all. So I got a drum teacher, and he would give him little cassette tapes to play at home and to try to mimic what he was hearing his teacher do. And it was just awful for such a long time. And I would sit there and try to give him some rhythm and help him find it, and patience and patience. I encouraged him. I never praised him. I didn't tell him it was great, because he wasn't great yet. And he never would have been if I had told him he was great before he got there. But I encouraged him, keep going, keep practicing. You're going to get there. I know you can do it. And he would practice and practice. Well, one day, I was cooking supper and I heard this great drum beat. I opened the door and I said, oh, boys! And he was sitting behind his drums and he slammed his drumsticks down, and he said, Mom, I can feel it. I said, son, I can feel it too. Now, was that a moment of joy in his life? Oh, you better believe it. Out the roof. Had he persevered to get there? Yes, he had. Was he discovering the best that he could be? Yes, he was. He was competing with no one but himself. Did he finally gain humble confidence in that ability? Oh, yes, he did. Was he grateful for all the hard work he had put in and the encouragement he had received? You better believe it. And ultimately, what did he experience? Tremendous, tremendous joy. He had worked hard. He had been encouraged. And he had achieved greatness in that moment of true joy. Now, if I had told him along the way how great he was, he would have given up. He would have either thought, if that's the best I'll ever be, why keep trying? Or maybe that is the best I'll ever be, and stop right in his tracks. But I was more concerned with building his self-respect than building his self-esteem. Where do you think in that moment that he felt it finally? His self-respect. Oh my goodness. His self-respect went right out the roof with his joy. So if you're working to build your child's self-esteem, you are going to create self-centeredness in your child. But if your goal instead is to help your child develop self-respect, you're going to create a child with this worldview perspective of others-centeredness. The giving of respect is much more important than the getting of respect. The serving others is much more important than having someone serve them. Your child is going to be the one who can step over in humble confidence away from the cool crowd and go get that kid who's always by himself and include that child in with their crowd. Your child is going to be the one who can become a weeble. Remember, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down? Your child will be the one with so much self-respect that has come through this other-centeredness, this working hard so that they can contribute, so that they can give to the world by the accomplishments and the skills that they're developing. It's not going to be about them. It's going to be about what they can do to serve others. So, of course, I can't let you get away without mentioning manners, because we are the creators of Manners of the Heart, our elementary school curriculum. So, manners, right? If you're working to build self-esteem, you're going to have a rude, ill-mannered child. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but that's the truth. If you're working to build self-respect, you're going to have a well-mannered child. That child who's putting the needs of others ahead of their own wants. That child who's more concerned with how they're going to serve the world than if the world is going to serve them. That child who wants to cooperate more than they want to compete. Doesn't mean they're a doormat. It means they're that special child with that beautiful quality of humble confidence who will find God's purpose for their lives. Thank you.
What'd you think about that? Yes, you really nailed it, right? So, okay, you have your questions on the table that you can sit and talk about. Got about 7 minutes. Amy? See her. Amy's here. Okay, mamas, time to go to your book groups. You can, and anybody who needs a book, come and see either Mary Beth or Tina with the book that you're interested in. Did you decide what